Welcome back. Welcome back to this week's YouTube Live and the podcast. Welcome to the Waterfowl Den. My name's RD. We got a special guest in the duck room. He's been on before, but the last time he was on, I wasn't sitting in a boat. So welcome back, Thomas from Hoke Outdoors on YouTube. Welcome back.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for having me.
Man, how you been?
Been pretty good, just kind of been working up here in the call shop. I kind of made a move, full-time move up to Minnesota now, so have left the East Coast and trying to assimilate and become a Midwesterner now. So just been building duck calls, hanging out, doing a little bit of fishing, trying to get everything lined up for hunting season, and yeah, that's been about it.
Hunting season ain't too far away.
No, it ain't far away at all up here. Gosh, I mean, you'll be able to shoot honkers in North Dakota here in less than 2 months now.
How did you take the temperature change? I mean, I know you've been a big fan of Virginia, North Carolina, which is next door to South Carolina, but it's about 100 degrees here. How's it feeling there?
It's nice and cool right now. We actually just had a rain shower come through. I think it's probably about 55, 60 out there right now.
Oh
But
my goodness.
yeah, it's been a nice cool summer up here. We have it'll get hot at times up here. The first summer actually I came up here, I was wondering who the heck was tricking me, because I had been hearing about how nice the Minnesota weather was, and we had a couple months where it didn't get, we had highs in the 90s every single day for a couple months, but it's just how it goes up here. Some summers are hot and some summers are cool. And this one's been a nice cool one. We need a little more rain up here. All our wetlands up here are pretty rainfall dependent, so we haven't had a whole lot of rain this spring and summer. So just keeping our fingers crossed and doing the rain dance, hoping that hoping to catch some rains here and fill up some of these potholes.
Well, maybe if it don't rain, y'all can actually share some ducks with us over here, because I know you hunted in North Carolina plenty of times. I've, for the life of me, don't recall ever seeing a video from you in South Carolina.
No, I've never hunted South Carolina before at all. And even when I'd go into North Carolina, I mean, I stayed right up there close to the Virginia border. Like, even North Carolina, you get down into southern North Carolina, southeastern North Carolina, and I think you start getting into some of the same kind of hunting that y'all got. Not to say that y'all don't have good hunting in some places, but, the vast majority of the swamps you walk into in southern North Carolina, you're going to find one species in those swamps, and I think we
Yeah.
both know what type of duck that is.
The old wood duck.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I love me some wood ducks, but I always say, variety is the spice of life, and I don't know if I could do a whole season, just shooting wood ducks like I used to back east.
Yeah, definitely. They show up quick. They show up early, and that's about it. But people that like, say, let's just say random people, like, people in Minnesota. They have a species of duck. I'm tired of seeing mallards. Where people like us would be like, we're tired of seeing wood ducks, and people in Minnesota's like, man, I sure would like to see a wood duck. But it's just where you at.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. The more I've traveled around the country, the more I've seen that. Guys on the West Coast will say the same thing about pintails.
Yeah,
They want to get away from the pintails, and guys down on the Texas coast,
love
they
to
want to
have
get
them.
away from the you want to get away from the redheads and the teal,
Yeah.
So yep, it's just like anywhere, you get used to something, and you're going to be looking for a little bit of variety.
I still will argue with anybody. A teal that we have on the coast and a wood duck's the best eating duck out there, period.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite eating ducks would be, I think, the wood duck number one, the teal number two, and then a pintail close third. And I don't really even think anything comes real close to those
I,
three. I mean, mallards are great, but in general, I've had some real foul tasting mallards
mhm.
before. Mallards they're so adaptable. A
Yeah.
mallard will do anything it needs to survive, and so a lot of times they'll be eating plenty of good stuff, but when it gets cold and there's not many options, I've seen them get on some pretty nasty diets pretty quick.
Yeah. They are very adaptive. But yeah, man, wood duck. Oh my gosh, I love a wood duck and some. I love some beef. Some I said beef. Some jerky goose. Like put some goose
Uh-huh.
strips in the dehydrator with some rub on them. Oh my gosh, that's the best way to eat a goose.
Yep.
But we
Yep.
don't
I
we don't get no snows or anything else to be able to taste what them things taste like.
I'd say from my experience, snows are pretty similar to Canada's. Um, and then the speckle bellies are the ones that are kind of the standout for in my
Right.
experience. If you ever get your hands on a speckle belly and he ain't too shot up, you go ahead and pluck him
Mm.
and cut his breast out with the skin on and cook him on a cast iron skillet, and that'll be some of the best wild game you ever had.
Well, the only speck that I have is over here, which you can see the wing of, and that was when I went to the Stanfield out there in Texas, and I
Oh yeah.
shot I shot my 2 day two bird limit and came back and it's on the wall. So no,
Yep.
I don't know what it tastes like.
Sounds like you got to make another trip out there and fill up the freezer this time.
Man, I went out there already this year. I went and I hunted. You used to work there, like guided for a period of time, but that's been a couple of years on it.
Yeah, yeah. I worked as a cameraman actually. I wasn't even a guide, which I mean I helped out with setting the
Right.
spread and stuff like that, but I wasn't really ripping on a call typically. But yeah, I went out there and worked as a cameraman for him. Gosh, I don't know how long. 5 years ago now.
I
Don't feel like
knew
five
I
years
knew it was
ago.
a while because
Yep.
I mean you've been up there at least 2 years.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
time
actually.
flies.
Yep, I worked. I did that winter down there, and then that summer after, the very next summer was when I came up here the first time.
Yeah, I rode out there March. I turkey hunted with Andy, and
Okay,
so
nice.
I drove because I didn't feel like dealing with the airport with shotguns and ammo, and I wanted to bring
Yep.
a Rio back, and I just didn't feel like dealing with it. So I drove out, which took a day and a half to get there. I got there, I checked in. It's turkey season, so there wasn't nobody else at the lodge. Went in,
Yep.
went into town, went into the little grocery store, got me something to eat, came back, and this was when college basketball was going on. So I was watching some of the finals there. Went to sleep, woke up the next morning, met Andy. We walked out in the field, and as soon as the sun come up, bam, Rio down, back in the trunk, back to South Carolina. I was like,
that's
well, Andy, I
that's
didn't
called
get really.
efficiency right there.
I'm like, well, I didn't get to hunt with Andy very long, but man, it was an awesome hunt. Like 10 turkeys come out. I mean, one turkey came from behind us. We didn't even know where he came from, and it was a great trip.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, Andy and Jeff are great people. So
yeah,
yeah, whenever you go out and hunt out there, I think you're in really good hands.
yeah. Jeff is man, he's a trip.
Yeah, yeah. Jeff's a lot of fun.
Jeff comes on the channel. I usually get him on like once a year too. He gives an
Okay.
update and all kind of stuff from his side, the spectrum.
Yep. Yep.
So, but if people don't know, Thomas has an outdoors channel. Is Hoke Outdoors. We throw that up on the screen real quick so people actually know. You know when we're talking, what we're talking about here. Um, when I find my tab, there we go. So that is not the left screen. There we go. There's his YouTube channel, Hoke Outdoors. If y'all haven't subscribed to his channel, definitely check him out. I mean, man, every time I look, man, your subscriber is like jumping, like really jumping. So makes great content on kayaking. So how much kayaking hunting are you doing out there?
A good bit. Honestly, less than I probably should. And
Really?
like, well, the reason I say that is because I love hunting out of the kayak, and it's a really effective way to hunt. But all our marshes out here, for the most part, are cattail marshes,
Mm.
and we got anywhere from 5, 6, 7 foot 10-foot tall cattails in some places. And so you just, when you got that sort of cover, you just don't need the kayak.
Right.
So I find myself, I use the kayak, a ton, probably 50, 60, 70% of my hunts. I use it for transport, but then I'm not actually laying out of it typically until real late in the season when those cattails start to lay down. But I think this year I'd probably try, I'm going to try to get the kayak out a little bit earlier in the season, just because, I think you can for sure just hide in the cattails and shoot birds up here all year long, but get that last, 10 yards a lot of times. That's where the kayak makes a difference, between them flaring off right when they hit the edge of the spread and them actually sitting down in the spread. So that's why I love the kayak more than anything. A lot of the times when I'm hunting out the kayak, they'll be landing at 10 yards, 15 yards, and you pop up out of the kayak and they still don't even know you're there until the gun goes off the first time. So that's kind of one of those feelings that I try, or one of those things I try to chase with waterfowl hunting, is I want my hide to be the best it absolutely can be, so that I can get those birds as close as possible and have as much of an experience with those birds as I can.
Right. And I that's what I hunt most out of too. We do a lot of kayak hunting in the marshes and in the trees,
Hmm.
and it's a whole different uh, breed. You get a lot of people that ain't used to it, and they're like, I don't know if I want to shoot out of it, and it shakes. So,
Yep.
hey Jay, welcome back. I'm not sure if you can see comments, but there is a comment section where people talking. But welcome back,
Okay.
Jay. Jay's from Georgia. Jay would be one of them that hunted out of a kayak last year, and he made his first shots out of a kayak. I haven't got him 100% into the kayak world yet, but uh, it is definitely a different hunt. Definitely a
Yeah,
different hunt.
absolutely. What were your first impressions when you first started hunting out the kayak? Like, what were some of the things you were worried about, and what were your impressions on
Being too fat.
it?
My first kayak was a sit-in type kayak, just like a life proof or life hack, something like that, from like one of these sporting goods. And minus hunting, I weighed enough not to weight it. But once I added my shotgun, my shells, my decoys, me wearing waders, and all that, I was well over my limit. And
Oh, yeah.
I never had any problems out of it. But then I decided that I was going to get a sit on top kayak, and that didn't work out too good. I flipped it in the pond a couple of times. I'm like, this is not going to work. And then I switched over to a sand hybrid, the canoe flat bottom, and I love it. Really
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. That's the same one I got too. I think that's, if I'm ever recommending the kayak to people, that's always the one I recommend. You can't beat the stability and how much gear that thing can carry. I mean, there's definitely times I wish it was 10, 15, 20 pounds lighter, obviously, but for someone, especially someone just getting into it for the first time, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think you got. I don't know what happened when you turned it. You got some lag there. I don't know if it's on my end or just on yours. Jay could
Yeah,
comment to me.
yeah. I'm sorry. I was trying to figure it out on my end. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's um, and really, I don't think I changed anything with the phone. So, uh,
I mean, I don't, it could
sounds
be
like
my end. I don't think it is, but it could be.
let me play around with it here real quick. Uh,
Do I sound like I have a lag?
no, you just like you sound kind of like a. It sounds like a robot. I don't even know how to describe it. Just like a bunch of static.
That's what you sound like too. Let's see if I can change internet real quick. Hopefully, don't drop nobody. See if that makes any difference. But yeah, I love my sin. Um, I'm actually going to upgrade to putting a trolling motor on it this year.
Okay. Wait, how are you gonna do that? Are you gonna? I know I've seen that they make a kit for them before. Are you gonna use that kit? Or are you gonna try to fashion something yourself just to put it on there?
I think I'm going to just do it out of the fishing holes out the back.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if Jay if he comments. There's a when you're going live, there's like a 30-second delay. So Jay, comment and tell me if you hear any lag on y'all's end. Hey, this is true live. This ain't no pre stuff here. This is live, man. We have to fight battles live. But
yeah.
I don't know if you noticed it, but on the reach would be really small on your end. I do have a live camera now that's out in the woods, and I just saw something go by really quick. But I'm hoping to get some deer while we doing a live one day.
It'll be like that clip from one of the old Duckman videos,
Yeah.
Sitting there, pull out the rifle and pop yourself a freezer filler real quick.
Yeah. Which maybe one day there'll be some corn. I don't know. No, YouTube would not like if it was live to go out. That probably would not go over too well with people. I could promise that. But yeah. So to do the
I can tell you that.
To do the kayak with the trolling motor, I got to register it. I got to get stickers and everything. Like, I had to do all the paperwork. So I have not finished that steps yet, but that is my plans to do this summer. Register it.
It's the same way up here in Minnesota too. I don't get that. All of a sudden you throw a damn little electric motor on something, and all of a sudden you got to register it. I mean, that don't make no sense to me. But I guess the rules are the rules. So
yeah, I agree. It's just taxes. They want more money, but at least it's not very expensive. It's not very expensive. So I think it's going to cost me like $25-$30. But one of the buddies that I hunt with this year, they put the trolling motor on theirs. They had the paperwork and everything. Oh my gosh! I mean, dude, we was able to cover so much ground and pulling decoys. It was big. You there?
sorry, did I lose you for a second?
Might have. Why don't you drop and rejoin? Let's try that.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I'll do that real quick.
So while he drops, we'll see how that works out. While he's joining back, remember, you can check out the website RD Reynolds Outdoors for t-shirts and merch and stickers, all kind of stuff. There we go. Adding back here. Yeah, I think it's still glitching on your end.
Man, I still got it. It almost sounds like, yeah. Here, let me run inside the house real quick. I'm going to go grab my headphones and see if that won't fix it for us.
All right, sounds good.
All right, I'll be back in 1 minute.
All right. So while he's going to grab his headphones there, what about my Coastal Carolina Chanticleers advancing in baseball? Man, what a heck of a season they're having. I think they're 26 straight games in a row. Today was an amazing game. So the baseball is definitely there. It is kicked off. They got a game here in about an hour. That's going to be in the loser bracket, but hey, South Carolina's shining at the moment. I was kind of let down that my Murray State didn't. They looked really good all the way up till their last game, and I mean they just could not get it together at all. So I'm hoping for the great state of South Carolina that they continue their streak. I thought for sure they were going to have the 10 run lead going into the second ending, but they allowed them to come back and get a couple scores. But it was a heck of a game today. So if you're not watching the College World Series, I highly recommend watching tonight's game, and then this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, will be the championship. If there is a third game, that will be on next Monday. So going into this weekend is the championship game for college baseball. And, man, they're having a really good game. So hopefully everybody's having a good Wednesday. Wild weather, we're definitely going to have some good rain showers coming on while he's joining his headphones there. See how that sounds.
Yep, there we go. That fixed
That's
it.
what it was. That's crazy.
Yep.
Hey, welcome back to the Waterfowl Den.
Round 2.
Hey, you got to fix things sometimes on the fly. It's about like duck hunting, you know. If the spread ain't working,
Yep.
you got to change your spread. But
Yep, that's exactly right.
so you got some new videos that just came out, and I love one of them. Because when you're watching a YouTube video and you're not watching it in full screen, you can see the comments where people comment at that part of the video. And one of them, you go to shoot a bird, and all you hear is click. And as soon as it went click, the comments started rolling. Oh, I heard the click, and then that's when I commented. I'm like, oh, the old Benelli Stoger click got you.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, I didn't even know that was a feature on there. I might have to. I don't think I've ever seen that before, so I'm gonna have to try to. I don't know. View. I always watch everything in full screen, so I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, if you watching it, if you watch a video, it'll have the comments, you know, pretty close to when they're commenting. I'm not gonna say that's on every video, but you literally can see the comments. They're kind of like scrolling across the bottom, but. Yeah, it was funny.
Gotcha. Huh.
And if people don't know what the Benelli click is, Benelli click is pretty much like the inertia shotguns. The Benelli, the Stogers, the Frenchies, or however anybody wants to pronounce them. The older retays, any of that type of inertia kind of gun, even the Browning A5 is inertia. Any of them guns you bounce on the buttstock, the bolt will open up just a hair. And a lot of people get the Benelli. It's always called the Benelli click, but you will get that click if you're trying to be real quiet and you sneak a shell in there and you don't let the slide drop. You're gonna, when you pull that trigger, you're gonna have a click because the bolt didn't close all the way. And
yep.
I don't know if you ran out of ammo or if you bumped it and it made the battery come open, but I mean it is perfect click.
Yep. Yeah, I think the gun was empty on that one. That was actually a little Mossberg 28 gauge that I bought here about 3-4 years ago, and I have never once cleaned that gun. I don't shoot it very much. I typically, take it out for 2, maybe 3 hunts a year. But yeah, I think that click, it was empty, and then I tried to take it out later in the season, and it was just a total single shot on me. So I think I need to clean that one this summer.
So have you done switched over to the sub gauges? Have you become a sub gauge kind of guy?
No, not really. I mean, I like 20 gauges. I think I could see myself picking up a 20 gauge and shooting a 20 gauge all season, but I don't think I have a good enough shot selection to be a 28 gauge hunter.
Yeah.
I like, on those days where it's tough, I like to be able to reach out and touch them at 40, 45 yards. And, I don't think I could find a 28 gauge that I'd feel comfortable doing that with unless, I was shooting like TSS exclusively. And
Right.
until I win the lottery or something, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah. So when I said the click on the Retays on the older ones, the Retay released some new shotguns at the SHOT Show this year, and their new shotguns have that feature where when the bolt locks, it is now locked. It can't do the Benelli click. So I want the new 28 gauge, but it won't come out to the end of the year, if not maybe next year. And so I went to the range this weekend with a buddy 28 gauge. I mean, like you said, man, up close, they are killer. But like them long shots, like I was trying to do trap, which is going away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I look rough.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
go ahead.
They're sweet guns. I love how that Benelli 28 gauge SB3 shoulders. I've gone into a gun store many a time and picked up one of those and had a long, hard thought about dropping, $1,800, $2,000 on one of those. But yeah, just for what I do, I love the versatility of a 12 gauge. I think for some people a sub gauge really fits what they do, but for what I do, the 12 gauge fits me well. And there's a reason that the 12 gauge was the staple for a long, long time. It's not that we didn't have shells for 20 or 28 gauges. Right. Not that things haven't got better on the ammunition front, but I think there's a good reason why the 12 gauge has been so popular for so long.
With the 28 gauge and 20 gauge, you're only going to get so many pellets in that shell. And when you start dropping them into them sub gauges, you're talking 75, 100, 150 pellets less. And I'm not the greatest shooter, so I need every bit of pellets that I can get.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like to have a full pattern going down range. I can tell you that.
And 28 gauge shells, you can't say, people are like, well, I'm just going to swap sub gauges. Hey, some of them sub gauges like 28 gauge and 410, the shells are more expensive than the 12 gauge.
Yep.
But I understand some of the older generation, dropping sub gauges to help on the kick, because that 28 gauge has zero kick.
Yep. And you hear about it more and more, but if you have a private hole, mm-hmm. or like especially people with a private farm where they got a few different impoundments or ponds or whatever, right. The sound difference of a 20 versus a 12 is huge, but a 28 versus a 12, it's night and day. So right. Yeah, if you got 2 or 3 guys out in the blind and you're trying to keep the shot sound down, to a minimum, for sure, using 20s and 28s makes a whole lot of sense.
And people talk about like, man, let's do a old man's kind of gun. Let's do 20 gauge. Let's do sub gauge. Man, I just, especially being in the South, like we talked about it earlier, them wood ducks, you only get one chance. And man, I don't want to take a BB gun to a daggone machine gun kind of fight. Like, them jokers are already hard to hit. My gosh, I don't want to give them more of an advantage.
Yep. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But yeah, I'm looking at a 28 gauge for the channel mostly, do reviews and stuff like that. But yeah,
I think they make great dove guns. Like whenever I've gone out dove hunting the last 3 years, I always grab the 28 gauge. They're awesome for that. But yeah, besides that, I pretty much only grab the 28 if I, in spots where I'm real confident that the shots are going to be like 25, 30 yards and in.
Yeah, like you said earlier, unless you shoot with straight TSS, that's a game changer. TSS is a huge game changer, but right now, every shell is ridiculous. Shell prices are ridiculous. And I'm a big time reloader. I love reloading, and like bismuth right now, I mean, it's just off the chart.
Is it still up north of $20 a pound?
Yeah. I think it's more than that. I know Jay that's in here, he sent me a link this week. He found some specials on some earlier in the week, but I mean it was crazy. He found some, let's see, $29 a pound, and that was a good deal.
Wow.
I mean, people don't understand that. So let's break it down. $29 for 1 pound. And if you shoot a 1 ounce load, that means you're only getting 16 shells out of 1 pound. And it's $29 just for the BBs. Not the powder, not the primer, not the hulls. I mean, that's big.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I really don't want to shoot steel this year. I hate steel. Once you shoot bismuth and TSS, man, it is hard to go back to steel.
Yeah, I still have never tried TSS. I would like to try it this year. I'm hoping that that's kind of the direction we go. As an industry over time is switch from steel to TSS or steel to bismuth. Not that, I think modern steel is pretty good, all around, as long as you pattern your shotgun and find a good load. I've never really felt like I've been, I've had a disadvantage because I was shooting steel. There's been plenty of times I've been in a blind and I'm shooting steel and other guys are shooting bismuth, and I feel like I'm right on the same playing field as them. But that TSS stuff definitely takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, I switched over to TSS for turkey for 100% for turkey. That's why I try to tell people. They was like, man, that stuff's like $60 a box. I'm like, well, heck, you can't shoot two birds in a. I mean, heck, a box will last you a year and a half.
Yep.
You're gonna complain about $60 for a box that'll last you 2 years, but you buying all kind of camo and everything else. Like, what? Where's the priorities? I mean,
exactly.
A darn bird that's got a brain the size of a pea that can outsmart you, and you want every advantage you can get. But
Yep.
So I know last week you were gonna come on, but y'all doing something with dogs now? I know.
We got
You got a dog, but what y'all doing up there?
Yeah, so my boss has always been big into dog training. Always had labs, or he's had labs for about the past 15 years, and so we have 2 females up here right now. Actually, well, we have 2 females that he owns, that he does some breedings with, and then he has a couple other buddies who he's given them puppies from past litters that he's had, but he retains the breeding rights. So, we'll have the puppies up here and sell the puppies, and then, once all that's over with, the dog goes back to their owner. So yeah, we got 2 litters up here right now. One of them with Bonnie, who she's been on my channel a little bit. I've hunted with her a decent bit over the past 3-4 years, and so we had 6 puppies out of her, 2 females and 4 males, and we actually still have all 4 of the males right now. We have 2 of them are supposed to be going home here hopefully in the next week or 2, but we actually have 2 still left for sale. So if anybody is looking for a lab puppy right now, I got a black and a yellow male up here right now, and then then we have another younger litter of about 10, and all those ones are all sold. So yeah, we'll be sending some puppies home before too long. But right now we had 16 lab puppies up here at one point. We're down to 14 now, and hopefully we'll be down to 10 here before too long.
Now he's won all kind of medals and stuff. Not dog wise, your boss. He's won all kind of medals and championships and stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's been out of the competition calling thing for I think close to 10 years now. But yeah, about anywhere the 10 years before that, from the time he was about 20 to 30, he was heavy into the competition calling scene, and he won a lot of different contests all over the country. So safe to say, whenever we're goose hunting, I let him run the call, and I just sit back and enjoy the show.
I mean, he's got a lot of awards with the dogs too, hasn't he?
Yeah, I got a whole I guess I could go ahead and turn it. Yeah, I got these are all of Rue's ribbons here, and then
Wow.
another dog's ribbons here. So yeah, all of both Bonnie and Rue, the two females that we have here year round, both of them are Master Hunter titled, and then
That
he has a
takes
male.
Master Hunter takes. That's like the highest you can get, correct?
Yeah, in the AKC hunt test, yep, that's the highest you get. I guess you can pass the Master National. That would be, I guess, one step higher. But in terms of just a regular title, Master Hunter is the highest title.
And that's not something you get overnight either. That's a
No,
lot of steps. I I listened to somebody talk about that one time, and that is you gotta have a good dog for that.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was I'd say a misconception that I had when I got a dog was just that, oh, if I do enough training and if I spend enough time, I'll be able to get my dog to a master hunter level. And that is a big component of it. Obviously, even if you're an incredible trainer, if you don't get out and train very much, you're not going to get your dog to a high level. But you got to be on top of your game, and you got to be consistent over a period of multiple years to be able to get your dog to a high enough level to where they're going to be able to pass those master hunter tests. I mean, typically a master hunter test is three different series, so three different setups that you have to run your dog through, and most of them are going to be like three marks and a blind, or two marks and two blinds, and you have to run those all at one time.
And I think you can correct me because I definitely don't know, but the dog can't break, or if the dog does break, you can't like call the dog back. Like there's like this level of competition is almost like having a kid like in church, and you can't call them out for acting up, but you give them that eye level and they know what you mean. That's almost kind of like what these dogs are. These dogs are so smart that the caller or the owner doesn't even call the dog back. He just like eye contact, like you messing up, get it together kind of deal. But I mean, it is tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a ton of nuances in that whole scene, and probably way more than we'd want to get into today. But for sure, yeah, if your dog breaks, you're gonna be out. I think there's a little bit of leeway there. Like your dog can probably take a couple steps, and as long as you're able to re-heal them, you're gonna be good. But if your dog full on breaks, yeah, you're gonna be out of it for sure.
I think for that, it also is not all about the dog. It's about the trainer too. You know how the trainer can handle the emotion, the stress of like get back here, kind of like the frustration. Is not only a title for the dog; it is a title for the owner too.
100%. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, yeah, you have to be able to keep your emotions in check. You got to be, I mean, you can boil everything down in dog training to consistency. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, you have to be able to be consistent with your dog. You got to be consistent emotionally. You have to be able to, give them the attention and the energy that they need, consistently. But yeah, for sure, you gotta, there's not a whole lot of room for error if you're gonna get a master hunter title. So yeah, like Corey, he did a lot of the training for him, but then when it would come to actually running the master hunter test, there was times where we have a professional kennel not too far down the road, and he would have that one of those professional trainers handle the dog at the hunt test, because there are so many just little nuances that can be the difference between you passing and you failing.
Yeah, that's crazy. You got any
Yeah.
hunts you planning this year? You going, or you going to just stay mostly in state, or?
Oh no, I'm sure I'll be doing some traveling. I haven't really locked in anything uh, too big yet. I think I'm kind of starting to put the pieces in place to try to get up to Alaska again this September. That's been something I've done the last 2 years, and really enjoyed my time up there. So I think I'll try to get up there again for a week or two in September, and then after that it'll kind of just be wherever the wind takes me. I just try to be real flexible with my travel, and that's one of the amazing perks of my job is that I have all the flexibility that I want to have. If I want to go on a hunting trip, I mean, it's not like I'm asking for permission. It's I'm letting Corey know that I'm going to be out on the road for a week, whenever I'm going. So that's something I try to take full advantage of, because I have that flexibility. I try to wait to make sure that the weather's going to be right, that the birds are going to be there, and just try to give myself the best odds for success whenever I'm going to make a drive, wherever it is.
Like Alaska, King Iders, Alaska, or
no?
I heard that's
I think
heck of a trip.
Yeah, that I've heard the same thing, but that's an expensive one. Same thing. I think I probably got to hit the lottery to be able to make that one make that one work. But no, I'll go up to the same area that I hunted up there the last 2 years, and that's just kind of salt marsh puddle duck hunting is what I would describe that as. You're shooting mallards, pintails, widgeon, teal, and shovelers, and you're hunting in coastal marshes with 20-foot tides. You got brown bears around. It's a pretty wild and pretty wild and scenic place. But if you don't know what you're doing, you can get in trouble real fast. So now that I've got a couple years experience up there under my belt, I feel a lot more confident. I think I'm going to try to get up there and do some more exploring this year.
I hear you. You planning to come any North Carolinas?
I don't know. I might. I was really wanted to get down there this past January. When it was cold up in the up north, and my buddies in North Carolina were having some incredible hunting right there towards the end of January. So I was itching to get down there bad, but I'd taken enough trips, already, and so I was trying to actually stick around here and get some work done instead of just running around the country hunting. So I might, there's always the possibility, but I don't have anything planned there. And if I do, I think I'll probably, if anything, I'll sneak over there right at the end of January, kind of once everything is wrapped up throughout a lot of the country.
Who knows what the weather's going to be like this year for sure. At least for the most part, everywhere seems like everybody's getting rain, so it might be a good season.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, the prairie region up here is looking pretty good. So, I don't think it's going to be like a banner breeding season, but I definitely think it's going to be better breeding numbers up here than it has been the last couple years.
We had a amazing opening teal. Then the beginning open season was pretty good, and then everything just died off like terrible. But consistent flat. That's what I'd like to have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like changes more year over year. It seems like we just don't get that consistent cold weather that's been present in the past. It seems like when it does come, at least the last few years, it just comes in little spurts here and there.
Yeah. So getting to the shop that you're at, so where are you at? I know where you're at, but where are you working out of now?
Yeah, so I'm up here in Minnesota, kind of over here on the western side of Minnesota. So about as far away from Minneapolis as we can be, which is what we like. So we're up here and we're in the middle of nowhere, and make work for the company's called DRC Calls. It's owned by Corey Loeffler. He founded it when he was about 22 years old, and has been growing it ever since. And so I came on with him as an intern here about 5 years ago, and then kind of slowly started taking over more and more responsibilities. And this summer I'm actually running the call shop by myself. He's up in Alaska running some stuff up there, so I'm just holding down the fort here.
So how much have you learned being in a full-time management position?
Well, thankfully I don't have any employees, so I don't really have any responsibility on that end, which is really nice. I'm just responsible for myself and making sure that the day-to-day gets done here, but I've learned I can't even put it into words how much I've learned up here. I mean, it's been invaluable. It's been the most rewarding times of my life, the most fulfilling. It's led to the most fulfilling moments of my entire life. Just the whole process of, we source our products American made. Everything is built, designed, built, manufactured, tuned, finished here in house. So between Corey and I, we're putting the finish. We start all the way from a stick of acrylic all the way to a finished duck or goose or crane call. So it's just really rewarding to get to make a handmade American made product and then be able to sell that direct to consumer and hear the feedback of how our products make a difference for people in their waterfowl hunting seasons.
So are them turned on a lathe or like CNC?
Lathe, yeah, yep.
So each one's handmade.
Or no, CNC lathe, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
I got
CNC lathes. Yeah.
Y'all do custom ones too?
Yeah, we do. Yep. So Corey's done some custom wood stuff and stuff like that, and then we do all sorts of custom engraving. We can get custom colors, all sorts of things like that.
I can pull up the website on that and throw it up on the screen here. So here is the website. It is drccalls.com. So lead us through the website here. What do y'all got to offer on that?
Yeah, so right up at the top there, you can kind of see all of our different offerings. Our goose call lineup is pretty extensive. That's kind of Corey's bread and butter. Obviously, he was a competition goose caller. He did some duck stuff too, but definitely he was much heavier into the goose calling scene. So we have 7 different models of goose calls. We have lesser calls for lesser Canada geese. We got calls for honkers, and then we just came out with a duck call about, I guess, 3 years ago now. The Harlot, and so that's what we got under our duck calls page, and then we sell the only 3-piece fully adjustable crane call on the market. So we send a ton of those down to Texas and Oklahoma every year. That's always a real popular one. And then we just got kind of a few different options on there as well. We got some camo acrylic that we turn some calls out of. We do a what we call the custom run lineup, which is under the Loeffler's custom page. So those are small batch calls, small batches of 3, 5 calls that are, kind of one-off calls. We make a small batch, and once they're gone, they're gone. And then we sell some apparel too. But pretty straightforward website. I actually rebuilt the website last spring, so I pride myself in that it's easy. It's easy to get on there and find what you need, and be able to, make the shopping experience very streamlined and straightforward for you.
Well, let's look at the goose calls. So different models for sure. The short ones is what a lot of people are going to these days. Which one do you prefer?
Yeah. The core is the one that stays on my lanyard pretty much all season long. It's just, every call's different for everybody. It kind of suits what, some people like a call that's a little longer and, has more back pressure because of that. Some people like a short call that's really responsive. The core just kind of has a real nice balance of both of those things. You can see there it's longer than the short drop, but it's shorter than the life sentence. So it's real easy blowing, very responsive still. Has kind of a nice mid-range honker sound, I would say. It's not like super deep. The life sentence is our real deep-pitched honker call, but the core is just a little bit higher pitch and just real easy to hit all of the different notes on. So the core stays on my lanyard year-round, and then typically I have a life sentence and a short drop that I travel with as well. And just depending on the day and what I think we're going to get into, I'll throw one of the 2 of those on my lanyard as well.
I got you. That's what I like too. I like the longer ones. Them short ones, I struggle with blowing. That basically the only thing I can blow is a goose call. I struggle with a duck call. I could do quacks. I could do, teal whistle and stuff like that. I don't even call whistling using a 6-1 a duck call, but goose is my favorite. I love goose hunting. But I always struggle with them little ones. I think like you were saying, I don't have enough air volume or something to keep that back pressure up, and it sounds terrible to me.
Yeah, so like if you came to the booth at one of the trade shows we go to and described that to me, I would for sure hand you the life sentence. The life sentence is that's the first call of Corey's that I ever blew. It has a lot of back pressure built into it, so it's just real easy to break over. Really takes very, very little effort to break over, and it's just at a very minimum, it's a lot like duck calling. All you really need to kill a duck is to be able to hit a quack and do just a little bit of feed chatter, if that. Really all you got to be able to do is do a single quack and know when to do it. And goose calling is the same thing. You just got to be able to cluck and honk whenever you need to, and just more than anything, it's about knowing the timing of when you need to do that.
Yeah, I agree on that. Down towards the bottom there, the specks and the snows, I wouldn't even know what one of them looks like in South Carolina. Other than going to other states and actually seeing them, I would say that they were a fantasy, like a unicorn.
A fever dream.
But last year, I saw one last year with a goose. They were a snow flew in with a goose. It was on private property. I even stopped and asked if I could hunt, but that joker was lost.
Y'all used to get some snows down in South Carolina like way back in the day, didn't you?
That would have been well before I ever started hunting.
Okay, but I think I've heard stories of in the 70s and 80s when there was still some rice farming going on.
Wait a minute. He said 70. Just because I got gray hair don't mean I'm that old. God, he just called me old. Okay, I am kind of old. We're going to stop at the 80s, but the 70s was an insult. Oh.
No, I was saying before your time.
And the funny thing, though, is my logo is a snow goose, and we don't even have them in South Carolina. And the reason I picked that as a logo is I like dressing up, and I got a couple of videos of me shooting like over and unders with like a sports jacket on, kind of like the gentleman's hunt kind of deal. And I was like, I want a logo, and a snow goose was a gray hair grumpy old guy, and I'm like, that's my logo. So it's just the gray-headed, grumpy old guy. But yeah, I think there's probably some at the upper part of South Carolina probably still sees them, because the Outer Banks of North Carolina, they get snows.
Yep.
And the upper part of South Carolina isn't that far from Wilmington and the Outer Banks, especially as a bird flies.
Yep.
But where I live below Charlotte, it's so commercialized. They wouldn't come down here. Plus, the farming, like you said, though, when they were here, when the ducks were real big in South Carolina, our farming was totally different. Like you said, a mallard's going to go where he's going to survive, and a lot of our farming is no longer farming like they used to. So, they're not going to stay somewhere that they can't eat.
Yep, so, that's exactly right.
So duck calls, pull that up. So here's the duck calls. What's the difference in them?
Those are just color differences. So it's all the same call there, all the same model. Those are just different color options.
I got you. All single or single and double?
Yep.
Or
nope, just single. One day we might come out with a double read. I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, for right now, those are all single reads. I think, I'm obviously very biased, but it's the easiest single read that I've ever used. So I think even guys who are more apt to use a double read, I think if they picked up a Harlot, I think they would they'd find themselves falling in love with it pretty quick.
You know, that goes back to tuning, though, because I always heard that, too. Double reeds are easier to blow, and my first few duck calls were single reeds, and I'm like, I learned on that, and then the doubles, which are supposed to be easier, I feel are not. So, yeah, I think it comes down to, you know, pressure, how it's tuned, and all also.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Now, the next one is crane calls. We do have sandhill cranes in South Carolina. 100% you cannot shoot any kind of sandhill crane. But we do have them. We do have them in South Carolina. And last year when I went to Oklahoma, I thought for sure we were going to get on the sandhill cranes, and we missed them by about a week and a half.
Oh man, yeah, they are a cool bird, and that's a fun call to blow. That's actually I use the crane call for a few different things. I mean, of course I use it for crane hunt, but then I love using it for turkey hunting too. You know, at least up here, the turkeys respond. There's nothing that they shot gobble to like that crane call. You hit that
Really?
crane call, if they're around, oh my gosh, that thing gets them fired up. Yeah, just I guess the pitch of it, or I don't know.
Well, I
But
mean,
yeah,
I can
them
see that
turkeys.
because it is a loud pitch.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I use it a lot for during turkey season too. But yeah, that's a fun call to blow. It takes a little bit of practice to get it down because it doesn't blow like a duck or a goose call. It's pretty unique. But once you get it down, it's a fun call to have kind of in your back pocket for whenever you need it.
So the next tab was that camo calls. So that's just a series of all the calls in camo, right?
Yep, yes sir.
And
Yep,
then
that's just kind of a specialty camo acrylic.
so the custom runs are like for people's logos and stuff like that.
No, those are just a small batch.
Mm,
So it's everything, all our own logos and designs and stuff
I
like
got you.
that. But it's just batches of 3 to 5 calls. So they're just kind of limited release, limited availability.
There's some pretty colors.
Yeah, that's where I get to play around with a lot of the fun different colors that we turn is with this lineup.
Just gonna say that's a pretty cool call down here in the bottom. Just gonna go ahead and throw that one out there. But
Those ones sold out pretty dang quick.
imagine so. Uh, then getting into the gear, hoodies and t-shirts.
Yes, sir.
So
And then
call parts.
yeah, just call parts. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just kind of if you ever need it, need new reeds or new O-rings or anything like that.
So I know that y'all are going to some shows and stuff. So where would somebody, hey, I'm going to catch y'all at a show. Where are y'all going to be at next?
Yeah, so I'll be at 3 this summer. I'm going to be at the Delta Waterfowl Expo, which is in Oklahoma City, and I believe that is July 27th, 28th, and 29th. And then we do Game Fair every year, which is just outside of Minneapolis up here in Minnesota. And that's for 2 weekends in early August. And then I'll be at the Waterfowl Hunters Expo, which is in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and that is right at the end of August. So those are the 3 shows I go to. We will have a booth set up at all 3 of them. So if anybody's at those, feel free to stop by and talk some duck hunting stories, try out some calls, hang out, just kind of shoot the breeze.
Man, that sounds like fun. I'm going to try to get to. I'm looking to go to the Ducks Unlimited this year in Tennessee. I want to hit that.
Yeah,
one.
I've heard that one should be a really good one. I think that's the first year they're having it there. So I'll be really interested to hear how that one goes. And if it goes well, then I think I might try to get in on that one next year.
I mean, at least when I say, hey, you know where South Carolina is and where Charlotte is, you know where I'm talking about. Hey, I can't get in a vehicle and hardly drive anywhere to any of the other shows. I mean, it would have to be almost plane travel.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah. Okay, OKC would be a little bit of a haul for you to
a
to
little
go
bit.
walk around an expo for a couple days.
The podcast
Y'all,
and YouTube haven't got that big yet.
yeah, y'all have a show in South Carolina though, don't y'all? Have
We
you been to
actually
that
have
one?
two. The
Okay.
first one is usually in March, and that is put on by hey, I can't even think of who they are, but the DNR, usually Palmetto Classic Sportsman. That's it. That's a big South Carolina DNR, kind of helps get that going, and it's at our state fair, and that's actually one of the biggest shows in South Carolina.
Oh
And
wow.
then we have one that's in Summerton, South Carolina, which would be where Santee Cooper is, the big lakes in South Carolina where the two lakes are, and that's probably a smaller show, definitely smaller. But yeah, we have two, but the one in March is usually really big. It's like 3 days.
Oh wow. I got you.
I'm probably going to go hit one up in North Carolina. There's one coming up. I got it on the calendar, but I can't remember when it is. It's a hunting kind of show. At least, the ones on the East Coast here, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, they do the whole combo of deer hunting, turkey, ducks, and fishing all together, where like some of them events you're talking about is strictly ducks.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. But again, we don't have the ducks that half these places have either. So it makes sense.
Yep.
But anything new coming out of the shop? Anything new you working on?
Not a whole lot right now. We got a spec call prototype that we've been working on for a couple years, so hopefully have that maybe finished up this winter, fall sometime, and maybe try to get that out later this season. Probably, if I had to guess, next season at the earliest. And then maybe kind of some updates on the duck call line. But that's about it for right now.
So I know you got a lot of videos dropping on YouTube right now. I feel like normally this is about the time you pick up video dropping. Probably a slower time of the year too for you, ain't it?
Yeah, a little bit slow. Starts to pick up here pretty quick though. So yeah, I've been trying to get ahead on all the YouTube stuff right now. Try to get all the videos edited and everything like that. Get them all scheduled out so that way I can kind of take leave that be for a little while and focus on some bigger projects here around the shop. But yeah, it's I'll have a new hunt coming out. I had about a dozen hunts from last season that didn't make it on the channel during actual season. Mm-hmm. So I've been working on editing those this spring. So those will be coming out every Sunday all the way from here until kind of the start of September. And then got a couple other kind of little projects in the works that we'll see if those end up panning out. But if they do, then I'll have some videos from those as well.
People don't understand how long it takes to edit videos.
Oh, yeah. Everybody always wants to start a YouTube channel, but the first 5 or 10 videos are easy. Yeah. It's if you can keep up after that is the real test. I feel like, because it's real. There's a novelty to it for that first few videos, but once you get into kind of the monotony of editing, then that's where it starts to get difficult to keep the energy up and keep motivated.
I've really been enjoying doing the lives and interviewing people and talking to people and catching up on them. And I was using a service called StreamYard, which was like web-based. And then about 2 weeks ago, well, about 4 weeks ago, they went up on their pricing, and I'm like, you know what? It's time to look at something else. And I switched over to Ecamm, which is running strictly on a Mac.
Okay.
I switched over from a Windows to a Mac and new software all at one time, and boy, has it been a learning curve. But
well, I'd say you've done a pretty pretty dang good job on that learning curve. You seem to have it pretty dialed out already. So
Just on a side note, I do IT most of the day, so that is my full-time job. But I could promise you, like you were saying earlier, everybody wants to be a YouTube person. I have questioned myself plenty of times with these cameras set up and getting everything going. Like, man, it feels like sometimes this technology kicks my butt, and I'm supposed to know what's going on. But yeah, it's been fun.
Absolutely, yeah. It's an awesome journey. It's yeah, having those memories preserved for a lifetime. I mean, there's it's invaluable. I feel like. I mean, that's why I started filming in the first place. I never thought it was gonna lead to being a part-time job, kind of what it is for me right now, or lead pretty much it led to the job I have here in the call shop too. So I just the only reason I got into it is because I wanted to have those memories for years and years and years, and that's still the driving force for me.
And up till I pretty much I think last week, I usually leave on the TV just the logo that says the Waterfowl Den, and like you talking about the memories. I've been uploading videos or photos to the camera here, and I'm not even gonna lie. Like, there's photos that I forgot about, the friendships that I've made while hunting, the memories. South Carolina's terrible on duck hunting. I ain't even gonna lie and say, oh, come to South Carolina, you're gonna get a limit. Dude, out of all the years that I've been hunting, I think we got like a 2-man limit twice out of all the years that I hunt. But it's memories. It's the photos. And I really have enjoyed this in the background. Like, I'm constantly adding more photos to it because exactly what you said. It's memories. And if you don't do something with it, I mean, that's I love it. And that's one of the things with the YouTube. I mean, you're younger. Obviously, you called me older earlier, but that is something. Recording these videos of me, recording it of our friends, recording it of my kids growing up hunting. These are all videos that we can go back and look at years after. I may be in my mid-40s, but if you really think about it, how many more duck seasons do I have in me? Not that I'm going to kick the bucket, but I'm getting closer to the 50s. I can't get out in that puff mud of the marsh like I can in my lower 40s. I can go back and watch these videos. Like, buddies you hunt with, they move away from hunting. Like, you moved out of state. This is a way that your buddies can still somehow relate and connect with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's crazy. I mean, the people that comment, that come on my channel to comment from overseas and talk about hunting and stuff like that. I mean, it is a tight group of people, and
absolutely.
I have greatly enjoyed it. It has been work to make content, but especially in South Carolina. Do you know how hard it is to make content? Well, guys, we're out in the marsh in South Carolina. Hopefully the birds show up. We didn't shoot nothing today. Let's go eat breakfast.
Yeah, you need to probably make it more about the breakfast than the ducks sometimes.
Absolutely. But I mean, that is what it is. It is something else. But well, I appreciate you coming on. Anything else you want to talk about before you go?
I think that's all I got tonight. I really appreciate you having me on. It's always a blast coming on and chatting. So really appreciate the invite.
Hey, at least I could say I'm watching you get older too. So
that's exactly right.
Maybe when we have you on next time, you might have some gray hair.
I was about to say, yeah.
Hey, long as it's still there, it just, with the light above my head and the gray, I'm kind of like What was that movie? They were vampires and they sparkled. Hey, I can't think of that name. That movie. Kids watched them.
Twilight?
Yes, that was it. See, I'm just sparkling. That's all it is. Sparkling. But I do appreciate you coming on. So if y'all haven't subscribed to Thomas's channel, it's Hoke Outdoors on YouTube. You on any other social medias?
Yeah, I got Facebook and Instagram as well, and those are both just under Hoke Outdoors. So yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to me, typically Instagram or Facebook is the best way to get a hold of me. You know, I wish YouTube had a better instant messaging.
I agree. I don't understand that either.
Yeah, I mean it does. Yeah, it don't make a whole lot of sense to me. There should be.
But I mean, the server space that they've got videos. I mean, so many videos get uploaded every day. Could you imagine the comments too? So I mean,
yeah,
who knows?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, if anybody wants to ever get a hold of me, if you're up around Minnesota and want to stop by the call shop or something, yeah, feel free to hop on my Instagram or Facebook and shoot me a message.
So how can they get in touch with you at the shop if they want to call or something?
Yeah, so there's a contact form on the website. You can reach out through that, or typically the best way is just to reach out to me through my personal channels, you know, through my Instagram or my Facebook, and just if you're looking for a custom call, custom engraving, you know, we can do anything, you know, in terms of custom engraving, really. So if you want to get a present for someone's birthday or Christmas present or anything like that, or if you want, you know, your family crest on it. We did one of those not too long ago, so we can do just about anything. So yeah, you can reach out to me, and I can let you know if we can make it happen.
And you know, calls are something you can always hand down too.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what we pride ourselves in more than anything. You know, we pride ourselves in our craftsmanship and our customer service. You know, we want our products to last you a lifetime and last your kids a lifetime as well.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Y'all have a safe, good week, and just like always, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, you can catch us on here. You never know who might drop into the waterfowl den. So
yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. So I want to say thank the Lord for the great outdoors that He's blessed us with. And here's a word from our sponsors, and I'll see y'all next week. Matthew Knight with Satura Investors out of Charlotte. There's the information. The link to his website is scrolling across the banner down at the bottom, and it's also in the description. Today's episode is about helping business owners and working professionals like you who share a passion for the outdoors shooting sports, zeroing them in to their long-term financial goals. So if you need any information or contact or any other questions, contact Matthew. Also go check out Salt Creek Ammo. This triple curl TSS is some of the best TSS I have ever shot. This is for waterfowl edition. It's made for waterfowl. So if you're going to shoot a species that you've been chasing for a long time, don't use no cheap ammo. You pay good money to go on a trip. You got great guns. Don't cheap out on cheap ammunition. This TSS is amazing. It's got number 7s, number 8s, and he has number 9s. So go check out saltcreekammo.com. Here you will find any kind of ammo you're looking for. He has custom loads, TSS in 10 gauge, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, low pressure ammunition. You got Predator ammunition, turkey ammunition, anything you're looking for, give Keith a call. Also to the channel, Kicks Industries, most people will know them as Kick Chokes, has came on board, and I have done a bunch of series lately on waterfowl choke tubes, turkey choke tubes, deer choke tubes. So go check out Keek's website for all of the chokes that can fit your guns. Flint Ridge Hauling Service, LLC, has partnered up with the channel. It is your go-to provider for all your hauling needs. They are not just any hauling service. They are an active DOT interstate hotshot hauling provider. Flint Ridge Service, LLC, prides itself in its reliable transportation services. This team ensures that your cargo is delivered safely and on time no matter the distance. Whether you need to transport goods across the county or state line, they have the capacity and the expertise to meet your hauling needs. Equipped with a smooth riding 40-foot air ride equipped trailer and a max hauling capacity of 20,000 pounds, there's no load too big or too small that they can't handle. Look no further than Flint Ridge Hauling Service, LLC.